Alright, today we're going to replace the distributor, rotor, and spark plug wires on a Honda Civic. And this is a pretty old one actually. This is a 91 Honda Civic DX that is in excellent condition. But it's distributor cap, rotor, spark plug wires, never hurts to replace those. The car is aged, but it's low mileage, but I bet we'll find some carbon buildup on the rotor and the cap. One of the things you want to notice on the new cap, just like the old cap, there's a letter C right there. That is number 1. So if you have a book with the firing order, number 1 goes here with the C, and that is the longest spark plug wire. So at least you'll get that one right. And what I'm going to do is, of course I have a diagram, but I will, of course, pay attention and just do them one at a time after I put the new rotor and distributor cap on there. So, looking at the new one, I can see there are 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. So I'll be removing those 3 screws from the old distributor. Some of the older ones, when you get into the 80s, they just have 2. And so you just want to look at your new part and see how many screws you need to access. Now what makes the Honda OEM distributor caps really nice is that the screws do not come out. They're captured, so once it is completely unscrewed, you don't have to worry about dropping it into the engine compartment, and there should be enough room to get it out of there. And that exposes the rotor. Now what you want to do is there's a shield underneath here. You need to remove that shield, and the reason you need to remove that shield is because there's a set screw in there, and you're going to need access to that set screw. So I like to bump the engine so the set screw is facing up so that I can get to it real easily. And also, you see this one, this replacement one, has a Phillips head. I like to reuse the OEM screw because it's a socket head cap screw, and it's much nicer to deal with. So I have completely removed the set screw because, like I said earlier, I want to reuse it in the new rotor. And then it should just come right off. Now this one didn't. You see it's free to spin. It did not come right off. I actually had to get a screwdriver in there, a wide blade screwdriver, and kind of turn it and get it started. And then after I removed it, I noticed that it was broken off. Now I did not do that. I would fess up to it if I did. So someone had been in there trying to get it off and they couldn't, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, you can see even with the very low mileage, there is some carbon buildup on there, and it's always good to go ahead and replace it. Now what makes this job interesting is the hole in the rotor is just a through hole, and so it doesn't thread in there and tighten down and lock in place. You actually have to turn the rotor until the screw meets the threaded hole on the distributor shaft there, and then you can screw it into the hole. And this particular one is threaded all the way through, so you can actually get it 180 degrees out. So you want to be careful of your orientation. All the more reason to have your alignment such that it's very easy to see and access with a tool. So the rotor's a bit tricky. You need to bump the engine so that it's in a convenient location for you to access the set screw. Then you have to align the set screw into the threaded hole that's on the distributor shaft, not on the rotor, and then tighten it down. And you need to get it good and snug too. All the more reason to reuse the socket head cap screw that came with it instead of the Phillips head that came with the new one. Alright, next we'll put our shield back on. Might be a shield the wiring from heat or from sparks or something, but we'll go ahead and put that back on. Alright, so the shield kind of goes around this wiring. You don't have to force it, it just goes right in. If it's not going in smoothly, then you're not doing it correctly, and then it tucks in underneath here. Kind of folds in behind this tab that's coming down from the coil. The distributor is straightforward. It just should slide right on there and fit on there snug. And then of course you install your 3 screws that hold the distributor in place. Snug those down. Don't forget you want to start all the screws before you snug any of them down, because there may be an alignment issue. So just kind of start them and then snug them down once all of them have been started. Next I'm going to transfer the wires from the old distributor cap to the new distributor cap. Doesn't matter which order you go in, whatever's convenient for you. However, in this case I'm going to put in new spark plug wires, so I'm going to go ahead and grab those. So my new spark plug wires are conveniently marked 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's pretty nice. So we'll start with number 1 because number 1 is marked with that C that I've shown you earlier, and we'll just replace them one at a time. Alright, number 1 is marked with the C, so I'll just go ahead and put that guy in. Make sure we get a good connection, and then I'll start taking the old one off the loom and replacing it with the new one. And then finally number 4, which is the only one left. Now you can put some lubrication on here, some Vaseline or dielectric grease if you like. You can tell when the boot is seated all the way down, you can, because they're all the same. There we go, new distributor, rotor, spark plug wires. If the cap doesn't go all the way on, if it's sitting up, doesn't go all the way down like that, then your spark plug's not screwed in all the way. That happens, I've seen it. Now you want to inspect the spark plug well, make sure there's no oil in there. That might require the valve cover to be removed and those seals replaced. If they're leaking by, they can become brittle over time and leak by. Spark plugs are pretty easy, just unscrew them out and then screw them in. Now I've often found that the spark plug will, the new spark plug after you put it in will stay in and your extension will come off, and then you'll need some needle nose pliers to grip onto them to pull it out, or you can just tape, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tape around here and kind of like, you know, duct tape, if you will, these two tools together. And there you have it. New rotor, distributor cap, spark plug wires, and everybody is all nice and snug and set. Now let's fire it up and see if we screwed up. Wow, that fired right up instantly. I am very impressed. Excellent. Makes a big difference. I should have started it up before I did the replacement. It turned over 3 times, 2, 3 times. Well, I do see some carbon build up on the posts on the rotor. Not too bad. There's the distribution, the voltage to the rotor contact. It's not too bad. And of course the coil, the insert to the coil was good. There we go. That's good. The wire connections were outstanding, actually. Looks great. And then I realized that this is a vent here, I guess because it's rotating around in there could create pressure, and that's to allow air to escape, so, or to come in, because it's basically a fan in there, I guess.